Welcome everybody to Swish Tools 2.0. This video is an overview and this is a small video to get you guys familiar with the bot. I will essentially explain every single feature that you guys can have, but I won't go into details. I'll go into details into different videos. So to start off, you guys have the dashboard page. You can see your total success here that will appear once you have some success. Your total failure would appear here. Your total spent and total time spent. Whenever you guys run some tasks, you should see a beautiful graph that appears here, and we'll see it later on this video, and you'll be able to see the recent tasks that you have been running. If you click right here, you can see the notifications that you have. Usually these notifications will be used to announce or tell you that you've copped a shoe successfully. So that's essentially it for the dashboard page, nothing too complicated. Let's move over to the tasks page. The task page as well is super simple to understand. It's the same format and it's repetitive. And it's repetitive for a reason. You can start off by creating yourself a task group by clicking on new task group right here. You can name your group by just typing whatever you want. This does not affect your run or anything like that. You can select your module. Today we're going to run a generator, and you can select a website. So let's use Shopify as an example. Once you've selected all of these, you can simply create on group. If you don't know what modules or websites to run, you can simply click right here to have access to the full guides and documentation where it explains to you how to set up any module that you want to run. I'm going to create my group and I'm going to explain some other functionalities. First of all, you can delete your tasks here, you can edit your tasks here, and then you can create your tasks here. If I click on create task, I'm going to have a card that opens up. I'm going to select my task mode. Obviously, the setup will be different from module to module, but there's things that are always going to come back, such as proxy, credentials, links, tasks mode. Here you can see on the right hand side guides and video example, a link to the full guide for this module as well as common errors for this module. You can see a description of the module in a video that will be added very soon. Let's talk about advanced settings. Advanced settings is not fully optimized for all the modules yet, but it will come. Essentially, advanced settings is something that will allow you to shape your tasks, to shape your account generation, to shape however you want to generate accounts. As an example, say this is a Google account generator and I want to set up my forwarding. In the future, you'll be able to select an option here. I want to set up my forwarding during generation, and the script will know to go with that step. But for now, you can see here, I don't have any proxy. I don't, and it's not gonna allow me to create some tasks. But we'll come back to it. You can search your tasks here. You can copy the accounts for if you've generated some accounts. You can click here and it's going to copy to your clipboard. Stop and start task is simply very self-explanatory. It's just to start and stop your tasks. You can click on these three buttons here to see the successful tasks. You can see the ongoing tasks. That means the tasks that are currently running, and you can click right here on this last circle to see all the errors that occurred on your task group. And we'll come back to this and I'll show you guys how to work it out. Let's go to the profiles tab. The profiles tab is very, very simple, and it's not your usual profiles creation methods. First of all, you have card groups, and then you have profile groups. Card groups are essentially a card. It's your credit cards. You want to manage all your credit cards here, and then with card groups, you're able to create your profiles. Now, why did we do this? Simply because we want to save you some time. We know how complicated it is to always re-put your credit cards and all that information every time you have to create a profile. Well, we save that time with simply storing all of your cards in a new card group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new card group and I'm going to call it test. I'm going to click on create group. And then you can see your groups are going to appear here every time you create a new group. You can create your cards, delete cards, edit your cards, and then jig. This is not in soon, but it is coming in soon. You can create your cards here. Very self-explanatory. You just have to click on this button right here. Here you can use our expression engine here that I will explain once we get to the profiles. It's a simple concept, but just have to get familiar with it. With cards, what you can do is you can add some new cards. Every card that you add here is going to be a new card. You can click on delete here to delete the cards when you're creating. This is the very normal basic card creation. You can go to import cards right here, and then you can go to mass profile cards, mass profile import, if you want to simply create your cards quicker using this format, which is essentially going to be, say my name is Horacio, my card number is going to be 11122233444. Expiry amount is going to be 05, expiry year 25, and then CVV something like that. And every line that I'm going to every line that I'm going to add is going to be a new card. Essentially, if I modify this to 2, this to 3, 4, 5, 6, it's going to create a new card every time. And then all I have to do is click on done, and my card's going to be created. You can also, if you go back to the cards, you can also import which VCC. So you just simply have to select which file you want to import, and you have to select which VCC provider you want to import from. Okay, so your card groups are done. Again, you can search your cards here. Now you can create a new profile group. So let's call it Test USA. Create group, and then we're going to click here to go on our profile group. Again, very same thing. The only difference is that you have export and import, so that's going to come at a later stage after creating your profiles. So same buttons: create profiles, delete your profiles, edit, jig profiles, which is not in, but it's coming soon. You can create your profile by clicking here, and then let's explain this expression engine. So what is this expression engine? Essentially it allows you to jig. And what is jigging? Jigging means slightly modifying your address or your information so it goes unknown, undetectable, whatever you're buying through merchants or anything like that. It's just so they don't see that the same address is trying to check out multiple times, and then you get canceled. So you can simply add your names here if you want to add Horacio, first name. This is a very basic form. First name, last name, email, email address, phone number, address line 1 and address line 2, your postal code, city, and then country. You can simply type here, United States, and then let's do Oregon. So yeah, very basic. If you go, you can click on next to go to the next, or I just like clicking on these tabs right here. You can select same shipping as billing, and meaning all the information that is here is going to replicate here. And then here comes the card group, where you can essentially select which card you want to go on your profiles. Now, that's the very basic logic of creating profiles. Nothing too complicated, super simple. Now let's go one step further and let's explain this expression engine. Like I said earlier, we use these expressions to generate and randomize multiple values. So if I give it an example, I want to have multiple different first names. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on copy here, and I'm going to Control and V with my keyboard, and I'm going to put this expression here. Now I know this might look a bit funky, but if you it's not very formal, but if you go here and you click on test expression and you put this by clicking on Control V on your keyboard again, essentially pasting, you can see what it's going to look like. You can see what the script will sort of try to do and essentially randomize all these first names. And then we can apply that logic for pretty much anything else with these expressions. So if I want a random last name, I'm going to put random last name. And what it's going to look like is going to look like random last names. Pretty self-explanatory. If I want an email and I want to use a catch-all or an account domain, I can simply do something like I want a first name with 4 different letters. So essentially percentage N with number 4, meaning that I want 4 random letters. Here, if I do 7, it's going to create 7 random numbers. And then here, this one's slightly different, is if I delete this and I want a number from 1 to 10. So it's always going to select a number from 1 to 10. So say I want 4 random numbers here, and then I want to use some random name. So let's say an apartment. Let's go funky with it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add and then say my domain.com, or you could just do gmail.com. It honestly depends on which website you're botting for, but we'll just go for this for now. I'm going to select everything, Control C on my keyboard to copy everything, and then Control V here to copy the rest. And then again, I'll explain it. We can apply that logic for everything. Say I want to use a regional phone code, which is going to be 872, and then I just want to create random phone numbers. I'm going to do this. I'm going to select, I want essentially 4 random numbers with my extension here. And it's going to create me a beautiful phone number with my regional extension. So I can copy paste this here, and then so goes on. I'm not gonna do it for everything here, but you can essentially apply this logic with anything. So I'm gonna put a postal code here, and then say Portland, and that's it. And if you are still a bit skeptic and you want to see what this is going to look like, you can click here on profile simulation, and you can see here it's going to sort of rotate and always show you what the different values would look like. So say if you look at first name, last name, your email address, your phone number, etc., and the logic goes on. If you click on this button right here, this is essentially just a reset button, meaning it is going to clear all of your data. I'm not going to do that for now because I want to go fast. And then lastly, I'll go back to what I was saying. I'm going to select my card groups to it's essentially, so if I'm creating 100 profiles, it's going to distribute those 6 cards through those 100 profiles here. Last thing you want to do is obviously the number of profiles you want to create, and then you want to name your profiles. It's very useful whenever you want to go back, whenever you want to know which profile hit, you want to know which card hit. This is very useful. So I'm going to put it test US, and I'm going to simply click on create, and keep in mind I want 100 profiles. I'm going to click on create profiles. So you can see here the profile name is test US1, test US2. They're all going to be different. And whenever you hit, usually your bot on your webhook or something like that will tell you which profile name hits, and you're going to be able to say I want to search what card hits because I want to see the charge. I'm just going to do, I don't know, like this, and I can see which profile hit. And then furthermore, you can see it randomized a lot of the information. If you click on edit here, you can see all the information that was randomized here that we changed. That's it for profiles. Actually, no, that is not it. You still can, so obviously you created your profiles. Now you want to export them to your bot. All you have to do is click on this button right here. This is the export button. You can select which profile you want to export, and then here you can select where you want to export these profiles. So say I want to do Swish tools. I want to export it to Swish tools. I'm going to click on export, and it's essentially going to export to my desktop. And then if I put test US 99, I can click on save, and it's essentially going to export those profiles. Now if I want to import those profiles, if I want to import profiles back into Swish, you can simply click on import, click here, desktop, and I'm going to put the name of what I did. I'm going to click on open here, and I'm simply going to click on create, and it's going to import my profiles. And that's it. That's all you need to know about the profiles. Keep in mind for the import feature, you can import for most bots. The way we work it out is that we match a lot of keywords and trying to find a lot of data. So if you want to create, or if you have profiles you want to import from another bot, you can import it. And then if you want to modify your profiles or anything like that, you can. Also, another functionality is that essentially is everywhere. Whenever there's group or tasks or profiles, you can simply use a right click, and you can perform a lot of actions. Here you can click and then shift click to select multiple. Here you can Control A, sorry, to select everything in the group. And then if I want, I can duplicate, and then I'll Control A again, and I'll simply delete because I don't want them anymore. That's it for profiles. And then again, those right clicks works for if I want to duplicate my task here, or if I want to duplicate my groups or whatever it is. Last part for Swish Tools 2.0, the doc, the very important doc. The doc is essentially, what is the doc? The doc is essentially everything and anything. It's where we condense everything that you need, all your utilities to bots to create your tasks. So yeah. Here you can click on check for update to view if there's an update. You can sign out by clicking here. You can click on bot status. It's going to open the bot status to see what modules are currently up and running. And then let's go from top to bottom. So general, your task limit, essentially browser and request limit. What is a browser limit? Is whenever we have modules that open browsers, it's going to only open 5 browsers at a time. So say I have 100 tasks, it's only going to open 5 browsers at a time. Why do we do that? Because opening 100 browsers at a time would completely destroy your computer and it would be too intensive. And then same thing goes for request limit. A request limit is whenever we send, it's a module that sends requests to a merchant or a website. So it doesn't open a browser, it's fully automatic. It's quicker. So usually request limit, you can afford to go higher in the 25 limits, and then browser limit, you can usually, you want to stay towards 5 to 10. If depending on your computer, you could go to 25. Again, it really depends. If you look at change logs here, you can essentially just see the change logs, and then news, it's just going to be news. This is not filled yet, so come back to it whenever it's going to be filled later on. Proxies. Proxies are one of the most essential things with the bot. You need proxies to run your tasks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here on my new proxy group, and I'm simply going to name my group. I'm going to call it test, click on create group, and then this beautiful section is going to open up. Here you can essentially add your proxies. You can test your proxies, and then you can switch the link you want to test your proxies on. This is very important sometimes because sometimes proxies will work on a website and on another website it won't work. You can click on save here, delete, randomize, or remove duplicates on your lists. Let me grab some proxies real quick so I can give you guys a really quick example. 2 seconds. Where are my proxies? Okay, I have a few proxies here. So I put some proxies here. I can test them all, and then say I have these ones are duplicates. I can click on remove duplicates to get rid of those duplicates. I'm going to click on save. Make sure you click on save. I can test these proxies on kit.com to make sure they're all working, and then I can randomize them to make sure everything is good. Again, you can use the right click logic here to rename if you want to duplicate, if you want to delete. And that's essentially it. And then you have this little button here, which is essentially, it's going to export the proxies in a text file, only the working proxies. So you have to test your proxies, and then say there's a few that failed. You can click here. It's going to export only the functioning proxies. If we go to account groups, what is an account group? Essentially, an account group is where you put your credentials. So we currently accept email and password, and for the Google one-click module, you can put recovery email as a format. And then we accept usually email, password format, and then we accept email. Actually, email we don't for accounts. It's going to be for email lists. Accounts is usually where you're going to put your accounts. As an example, I want to warm my accounts, and the bot needs to log into my account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my accounts, so the email of my account and then the password of my account in a email column to separate those two password formats. And I'm going to put one account per line, meaning that this is essentially how it's going to look like. The bot is going to go and distribute those to the task whenever you create your tasks. And yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, same function here, save, delete all, randomize, and remove duplicates. And then if we talk about email list is for your credentials. So what is an email list? Email list is essentially, so if you're generating some accounts, you don't want to use some random value or data, you could simply do something like, I want this credential at gmail.com, and I want the password to be password 123. So what this means is that the bot is going to take exactly this account information, and it's going to create an account with this information. So the email will be, I want this credential at gmail.com, and then the password will be password123. You can also simply put, I want an email at gmail.com, and then the bot will pick it up and create a random password using that email. So this is essentially just for the credential. Let's go to API keys. API keys. So you have your SMS provider, captcha solvers. This is sometimes a complicated thing for people to understand, but we'll go into detail for API keys and those SMS providers, how to set them up, how to top a balance, etc. Essentially, all you need to know is that an API is simply something that we use to communicate with a service, such as an SMS provider. It's going to give us a phone number, it's going to give us the code whenever it receives the phone number, etc. You can put your API key here. You can fetch your balance. You can click on save to save your API key. Very straightforward. Again, just we'll be making in-depth videos on how to set those each one of these SMS providers, as well as S2 which is a captcha solving service. So yeah, let's go to Catch O&I map. Catch O&I map. What is a Catch O&I map? Catch O&I map is simply two different terms. Okay, Catch-all is usually known, it's something known as a master mail that's going to catch, so where the catch and then all name comes from, so catch all the emails that are being forwarded to that master email. So there's two concepts. There's going to be your master email, which is the email that receives all of the emails, and that master email is the one you want to connect in your Google in your bot. So whether it's a Google, Yahoo, or Outlook account, essentially your master mail is the one that the bot is going to log in and then going to try to fetch some of these how may I say, I'm sorry, some of these, so the emails that gets forwarded to it. Again, for this section, we'll have a very in-depth video for it, explaining everything for it. But all that you need to know is that here you can put your email address, here you can put your app password for Google, here you can put your Yahoo account email, here you can put your Yahoo account password, same thing goes for Outlook account email, account password. To declare which master mail you want to use, you simply have to click on in use. You can click on test connection to make sure that your connection is good. You can click on save and then delete all to essentially delete everything and then save to simply save your settings. Webhooks, it's essentially more information that we send to your webhooks, whether it's success or failure. We can only support Discord and Slack, so if you guys are fanatics of webhooks and you want to receive some webhooks, as an example, I just generated a Nike account, and through the webhook, I'm going to send the phone number, the account itself, and I'm going to notify you that you had a successful task, etc. You can click on save, delete all, same functions, and then you can click on test webhook to make sure that your webhooks are good. License information, this is not too complicated, nothing too important. It's just, it shows your license information. Here in credentials, you can see that we use our expression engine again. Credentials, again, what are credentials? Credentials, I'm going to click on reset to default. Credentials is it's what's going to be, so whenever you're generating an account, it's what's going to be randomized as data to create the email and then the password of your account. So if I go here, and if I look here in this preview, essentially you can see that the credentials are being randomized, and you can see that the password, this is how the password is going to look like, this is how the email is going to look like, and then, yeah, nothing too complicated. Again, you can use your expression engine to have your personalized credentials, or you can simply have regular credentials, which is not using the expression engine, but it's using our own credentials that we've been using for almost a year now. And then lastly, you can go here to see all of the sneaker releases. These are accurate and they're always refreshed every time you open the bot or every time you come back to these section. You can see which shoe is releasing for sneakers, as well as you can see the sizes that are going to be available. You can see if the stock is going to be low, medium, or high for certain sizes. You can see at what time it's going to release, 10 p.m. And you can see the price here. You can see the name. So that's essentially it, the overview of Swish Tools 2.0. Again, there's a lot of videos that are going to come out with in-depth, such as for Catch O&I map, API keys, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much. See you on the next video.